Woohoo! We did it. Yay. It's Tuesday, and I am feeling refreshed and motivated, and I think I finally got enough sleep after this weekend. I don't know for sure. But if you don't know, I was at the Hawaii Songwriting Festival this weekend and totally lit a fire under my butt about songwriting and music stuff and being an artist and all that stuff. So it's really, I think the thing I don't talk about on here is like how important it is to take time to learn new things and connect with other people and to build your community. I talk a lot about community in the context of building your nervous system, training your nervous system so that you can sing in front of other people more easily over time and so that it becomes less of an attack to your nervous system. But I don't talk about what community does for your artistry, for your technique, just for pure inspiration and also validation and safety at the same time. So, safety is not just your nervous system safety. Safety is sometimes, I know we talk about outside validation as a bad thing, but it can be really helpful, you know? That's one thing I said multiple times with my fellow songwriters this weekend is like, it feels really good to have other people listen to your songs and say, oh my God, you have such a great voice. Can you teach me how to do that? Do you want to write a song together? Like, it's so validating to have other people say, yes, you are where you're supposed to be. You are good at this. You are doing great things. Keep going, you know? Um, Community and other people, other musicians and people on the same path as you are not just there to help train your nervous system, although that's a super, super important part of it. Having other musicians and other people who can talk the same language as you when it comes to making music, when it comes to talking about vocal technique, it's so important because you feel like you're not alone in the world. Number one, that is really very important. Like, as humans, we are social species. We thrive and we survive because we have other people around us having a similar experience. You know, back in the day, it would be like your people who you lived with in your small community. You have the same experience of having the same food every day. You eat together. You sleep in the hut right next to you. You get you wake up at the same time, you have common goals working towards together, and that is very important for human well-being, right? And because we don't do that anymore, because we are so isolated in our houses and we feel like we have to have our own individual houses and not a lot of people live in community like we used to as humans, we have lost a huge part of our brain's connections. So, like, sure, you may live with your spouse or your family or roommates or something, but it's a different thing because we are all on our separate pursuits and have separate friend groups and separate jobs and all that. We lose that camaraderie that comes with having somebody to talk to that is on the same path as you, that knows all of the struggles that that has been through all the shit that you've been through, and or maybe hasn't been, but looks to you as somebody who's further along on the path. Um, just being a mentor and having a mentor in the same arena that you want to do your life's work in, even if singing is not your life's work, this still applies. If it's something you love and you don't have somebody like that to talk to, you lose momentum super quick, right? If you're trying to just keep yourself afloat and keep reminding yourself, like, yes, it is okay to sing. It is okay to love this hobby that I'm doing. It is okay to have this passion. When you have people around you that don't care like you do, they're just, you tell them about a new vocal technique you learned and you show them, and your mom or whatever's like, cool, that's great, sounds great, conversation done. They may be incredibly genuine. You know how I said it was a little exaggerating and kind of cold, but even though they mean it, like they can't continue that conversation with you, and it shuts down a part of you on the inside that's like, oh, maybe this doesn't matter as much as I thought it did, you know. And so you may not feel as motivated or as excited or as fueled to go do that thing, to go sing more, to go share more with more people, because your ego on the inside is going like, oh, that wasn't received with the enthusiasm that I had about it, and so maybe it's not good enough, maybe I need to go back and do something else, you know, pull back on that passion. So this is a really big deal for artists. Like, we need communities of artists to talk to. We need communities of musicians. We need communities of singers specifically that get all the stuff that's in your head, that are as excited about somebody hitting a high C as you are, that are as excited about somebody belting out that beautiful B flat as you are, you know, that are as excited about a perfectly crafted chorus as you are. We are music nerds, okay? If you are here, you are probably one. So don't discount that. It's a good thing, I promise. And there are millions of other music nerds in this world. Just because the people you have immediately surrounding you are not music nerds and cannot continue that conversation with you does not mean that your passion is any less and you should not pursue it. Okay? If you take nothing else that I say to you today, take that. Just because of the reactions of the people around you, if they are not on the same path as you, if they're not as excited as your own on the inside, does not mean you should not pursue that thing. Okay, I've had to have this talk with myself after many mentors have had it with me, because in this society where we're so isolated, sometimes we have to, like, if you can't afford to pay a teacher or anything, it's okay, because not everybody has the ability to do that. But at least find yourself some singer friends, right, who you can go to and share, hey, I recorded this song the other day, can I share it with you? And somebody who will be excited about it and want to share their song back with you. Just the amount of light and the amount of fuel that will create within you is unparalleled, right? As opposed to you showing it to your dad and him being like, that's really good, and then he doesn't know what to say. It's not, it doesn't further the conversation, and it shuts down your own passion. And it's really, it happens all the time. I have students come to me with this issue all the time. When I was writing more songs in 2020 during lockdown, because I really wanted to further that craft, I would send some unfinished songs to my family, an email, and sometimes I would get back like one email out of like 10 people, and they would say, cool, sounds good. And I'd be like, okay, can you give me some more feedback? And they'd be like, eh. And then most of the time I would just get nothing back, and it was crickets. And I was like, that doesn't feel good, you know, to get nothing back after you sent somebody who you care about something that you care about so much that you created, right? It doesn't feel good. And so then I had to really go through this feeling, like, why am I feeling so shitty about this? Well, it's because my family doesn't see how cool this song is that I wrote and how good my voice sounds. So is it that my voice doesn't sound good? That's where my gremlin went to, first of all, right? Or is it that they don't know how to talk to me about unfinished music? So I started to learn very quickly that if you want feedback, don't ask for it from people who are not in it as well. Don't ask for singing feedback from somebody who's not a singer. Don't ask for songwriting feedback from somebody who's not a songwriter. Don't ask for driving feedback from somebody who doesn't drive. I don't know. Don't ask directions from somebody who doesn't live in the place that you are. So it really makes a huge difference who we surround ourselves with. And it can be really hard to find those people because not all musicians are safe people. That's another issue that we have. Like, some musicians are first of all, not very nice people. And if you send them something to give you feedback, they'll give you unnecessarily harsh feedback, and that will also kill your passion as well. And that is the reason I have a job, honestly, because so many of my students who are adults have come to me and said, this person a couple years ago or 20 years ago, my mom, my first choir teacher, said that I sounded too shrill or something. They said that I can't sing very high. And so those negative comments stick with us in our bones, right? If you're here, you probably have had that experience before. A comment that somebody said to you about your singing, about your music, that is not wonderful, that doesn't feel good. And so you probably have had thousands of other people tell you good things about your voice, but the ones that are harsh, they like tie themselves to our spine and don't let go, you know, so that when you do go to sing, all you can think of is that person saying, you can't sing high. And then all of a sudden, guess what? It's in your brain and you close yourself off. And even if you can make silly, stupid noises high in that same range, you can't sing high, right? And it's not because you can't sing high, it's because you are so fully sunk into this idea that other people hear your voice when you sing high and don't like it, that you stop yourself subconsciously from being able to sing high, right? You're not doing it on purpose. Like, you're really trying, you're efforting, especially if you're a fighter versus a flighter. We effort, we do so much, and we try and sing really high. And the way we do that, because we don't have training yet, is effort from these muscles, the vocal muscles. And so they tighten and tighten and tighten to push out those high notes, because we feel like that's what we need to do. When we're going for a high note, whether it's a belty note or a high register note, we go for that high note, and we're, you know, really trying to counteract, you know, whatever made that person say we can't sing high. And then we just go, and we tighten and we close off that pharynx, right? We don't give ourselves the space or the power from underneath, from the belly breath, from the abs. And we're trying to do it all from here, from this little spot right here. And it really is not a good environment for creating beautiful, free, open sound. Whereas if you're just in your shower singing, you can maybe hit those notes, no problem, because you're allowing the breath to come in from underneath. You're going, oh, you're opening and having that space, and you're not worried about anybody hearing you, right? But because those voices are so strong, the ego comes in and is like, remember that one time that person said you couldn't sing high notes? And then all of a sudden, your body is doing this subconscious thing without you even having any control of it. It's going, okay, I'm ready. I gotta shoot for this note. I gotta give it every single thing I got. And because the habit kicks in, it's from here. These muscles are working. You're over efforting, you're over tightening, you're over pushing, and you're cutting off your own sound. Hopefully this makes sense. Thank you for being here. Welcome. So what I'm trying to say is, the more you can have voices in your life that drown out those negative voices from when you were 7, the better off you're going to be, because your body subconsciously reacts to those things. So I started this whole thing off by talking about community, creating yourself a community for people who are on your same path, people who are songwriters, people who are singers, people who are players, instrumentalists, that's the word. People who know your path and are either one step ahead of you or one step behind you or right there with you. Because talking to people who are not on your path is not productive, and it can just add to the gremlin voices, right? And if your voices in your head, and I'm not talking about like unhealthy voices in your head, everybody has voices in our head. If your voices in your head are, you put all this weight on everything your choir teacher had to say when you were 7, and that one guy you dated who thinks that you're a bad singer, and it weighs it down like this, and you tend to not give any weight to all the people that said, oh my God, you have such a beautiful voice. Like, if you think, oh, they must be lying, and you put that weight here, even though there's 5 million of these and 3 of these, this weighs more. Okay. And this is what gets into our subconscious, and this is what affects our actual mechanism. So community is directly affecting your voice. your mechanical voice. It's craziness. We don't talk about this. Nobody talks about this. Like, we have to have community around us to feel like we can take the next step sometimes. Sometimes I know people who are super self-driven and incredibly super dedicated, and they have all this momentum. They just go for their dreams all the time. And then sometimes they burn out. And even then, even if you have such a fire on the inside, even those people need community at times to come in and say, hey, I've been there too. I have days where I feel like crap and I don't want to make music anymore, and that's okay. Whereas other people might come in and say, oh man, that sounds really hard. Maybe you should do something else. That doesn't help. I don't know if you've ever heard that from anybody. Like, if somebody came in and saw you struggling with this thing, your passion, your hobby, your singing, and then they go, man, that sounds like a really hard industry. Like, why don't you just go get a job and do something easier? And the little kid inside of you that's always wanted to be a musician goes, oh, that is not fun. Like, they're being invalidated. They're being invalidated. So the best thing we can do is go find a friend that has their inner child turned on by the same thing, and then let them play together, you know? So this is why the songwriting festival that I went to this last weekend, it was so important and so good for my soul, and why I make it a point to just go every time, even though there's a lot of money, it's time away from work, time away from my real life, whole thing. I hate being on airplanes, but I do it because I know that my inner child needs it. My inner diva person who wanted to sing from when I was 6 years old needs it so badly. And my technique benefits from it every time. Whenever I hear people belting it out on stage, first of all, my ego comes in and is like, oh, you're nothing like her. You could never do that. And now, because I've been training on it for many years, I can be like, no, F you, gremlin. I am super happy for her, and I want to go up there and belt out in the same way because I know I can do that. And I'm going to go with the fear. Right? I know there's fear. I know there's social anxiety. I know I may not hit the same notes that I did when I'm in the shower, but that's okay. I'm taking this step anyway for my inner child, for myself, because nobody else is going to give it to me but me. Right? Community is so helpful for inspiring you, giving you extra momentum, and giving you a reason to give yourself what you need. But they're not going to give you the validation at the end of the day, right? It's nice to have that validation. Like, somebody actually thinks I'm a good singer. Somebody loved my songwriting. This weekend, somebody cried when they heard a song of mine. I was like, okay, that feels really dang good. Okay. That's a thing. But at the end of the day, we have to believe them, right? Like, the thing that matters most is you believing yourself, right? We have to believe what they're saying, and that's the only way the validation can be healthy, right? Outer validation. So we don't want to go seek outer validation. It's really nice to have sometimes because it builds up our inner well of confidence and courage and commitment, but we don't want to rely on it forever. So it's really, that's just what I wanted to say. It's really important to have community, to have people you can talk to. And I'm a great resource. If you want me to be, I'm happy. And my DMs are always open, you guys. Even if you're not paying for lessons, you can always DM me. Teachers are great. Highly recommend getting a teacher or a coach for whatever your instrument is. Singing especially, teachers are very necessary because it's such a human instrument and you need somebody to talk with you about what you're feeling, right? Piano teachers talk about this sometimes, but like how you approach and how you visualize things affects how you play. 10 times for singers, right? That's 10 times more true. So it's really important to take a look and ask all the right questions about what's going on in here. And this is the basis of all of my coaching. Because if your gremlin is taken over and your gremlin is fully in you're not good enough mode, guess what's going to happen in here? You're going to be tightening, you're going to be forcing, you're going to be fixing and manipulating, and you're going to be off pitch, and you're going to be struggling to hit high notes, and you're going to be a negative feedback loop, right? I'm sure you've experienced this before. But if you have somebody to walk through the questions with you, walk through, okay, do I really need to identify with this voice right now? And this doesn't have to be a coach. It can be another musician friend, another singer friend who knows the deal, who knows what you're going through. That's all you need sometimes to pull you out of that gremlin zone and be like, okay, you know what? That's my gremlin voice. He's just going to talk his shit like he always does. I don't have to believe it or identify with it. I can stick him in the corner, throw him to another planet for a while, so I can sing freely, knowing that I have evidence that other people think I'm good. Right? Other people do enjoy hearing my voice. It's a thing that has happened in the past. And then maybe you can start giving more weight to these positive comments and less weight to the stupid people that have no idea what they're talking about. The non-musicians, the non-singers that are coming from their completely different perspective. So many of them are not artists. They don't know how to prioritize art. They don't know how to give ourselves rest. They're just living in the corporate world and running themselves into the ground. Okay, no offense if you are also one of those people, because we can be multifaceted human beings at the same time. It's okay to have a job. You're allowed. I love people with jobs. Really helpful to keep yourself alive. Okay, but there are some people that have never stepped their toe in the world of art, and they don't know what it means to take care of your mind and your instrument like we do. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is choose carefully the people that you listen to. Yeah, that's what I have to say. Yeah, if people are stuck in their very tiny minded ways, you don't have to listen to them. Honestly, you don't have to listen to anybody. You don't have to listen to other musicians if you don't want to. If somebody has given you overly harsh feedback and you've been like wondering if you should listen to them and redo your song or whatever, you get to choose. You know, even if you're in a music program and your teacher has told you this is wrong and this is right, it's art, guys. There's very little out there that is wrong and right, you know? So take stock of each person in your life that you're listening to for feedback and give them a rating. Like, how helpful to my soul is this person, right? Do I really need to listen to them? Are they a musician? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they on the same struggles as me? Or are they just making stuff up based on their worldview? You know? So let me know if you have any questions on this at any time. Yeah, I'm here for you. Let me know. You don't have to be a student of mine either. Just DM me and I'm happy to help you make video. I'll make a video about what you're dealing with or not. We'll just have a conversation. Yeah, this is a very important thing. And if you don't have people who sing in your life, go find some. Go to an open mic. Meet some other singers. Meet some other songwriters. Go on meetups.com. There's probably a musicians one. Go find your brother's friend who was in a band and talk to him, you know? Find other people who are on your same path and just start up a conversation. You know, you'll never know how much it will help your own psyche until after you have that conversation. Like every time I have a really nice music conversation with another musician, whether I'm in the mentor seat or I'm being mentored, I'm super fired up. And I'm less critical of myself. Very important. It's really amazing what happens in your brain when you receive that outside validation and when you think that you're not alone, when you have evidence that you're not alone. So highly recommend that. If you don't have these people in your life, I happen to have a lot of them and I'm happy to share. So I have a lot of musicians in my life because I have made it a point to say out loud, I'm a singer, I'm a musician, and then other musicians just appear in my life, and it's pretty amazing. So if you need people, highly recommend that. Every time you have a conversation with somebody and they ask you, what do you do? Sure, you can tell them what your job is, but then you say, and I'm a singer, you know, and then they'll go, oh my God, my sister's a singer, you should talk. And then you'll have a conversation with their sister and you'll be like, worldview rejuvenated, right? And you'll be like, oh yeah, my singer self needed a friend. You know, and that just that little moment of, oh my God, you're a singer, how cool, let's, you know, connect your singer selves, and you have a conversation about like your favorite singers and like what you're working on, like that can give you fuel for a couple weeks for practicing and for singing your heart out and for just letting it be free and for getting rid of your critic, your inner judgment, your gremlin. Just have some gremlin free time, right? Everybody deserves that, and just giving your inner musician a friend can be the answer. Again, if you don't have these people, I am very lucky to attract all of these people. Number one as a vocal coach, but also as a singer as well, that tells other people I'm a singer. So I have an online little community of other singers that you're welcome to join. I start discussions all the time. I share these lives in there as well, so you can watch all of them at once. We're sharing our own singing. We're sharing our favorite singers, or, you know, whatever comes up in your singing world, that's where we share it. And just having those other people that get you, that can talk your talk, that can, you know, understand your language as a musician is amazingly helpful. So if you're curious about how to get in there, let me know. I'm pretty sure the link is in my bio as well right now. I'll double check that. Also, the Vocal Magic program is why this whole conversation around creating community of other singers is why I created it. Like, it's helpful, number one, for building up your nervous system and helping you feel as though singing in front of other people is not going to be the death of you, like on a nervous system bodily level, but also so you can have singer friends, so you can have people to talk to about this stuff, so you can have people to light you up and to inspire you, and people who don't think that you're just doing a silly little singing hobby because they don't know how much it really means to you on the inside. So it really is priceless to have a community of singers, a community of people who get you, a community of musicians, even if you're just hobby musicians together. It really makes a huge difference. I'm not saying you have to be on track to be a Grammy winner or something, right? So it's a thing, it's real. Go ask a biologist, they'll tell you community is everything, okay? So if you're curious about how that program works, it's a 6-month program. We get in smaller groups of less than 10, and we practice live in front of each other every week. We learn techniques, we talk about them, we practice live, we sing in front of each other, we talk about all the struggles you're going through. This is exactly why I created this program. Theoretically, I will be launching again in July. So if you want to get on the list now, DM me. Let me know. I'll save you a spot. Okay. I love you all very much. Thank you for showing up. As always, if you're watching the replay, thank you for being here. Put like a dolphin emoji in the chat if you're watching the replay. And if you watched all the way to the end, I want to appreciate you. I might send you something free just for being here and for being awesome. Okay, I love you very much, and I will see you very soon.